What's up you guys, thank you for joining me again. Now in this video we are going to be working on SBP at Maths 2022. Okay, so without further ado, let us get started. So the first question here, it says that you should simplify, right? Simplify what? So there's a log question. So if you notice one thing, all of the log question here have different base, correct? The first one is base 5, second one is base 3, third one is base cert 3. So we cannot really combine the whole thing because all of them are not the same. So what we can do is we can turn all of them, make them become the same base. So I'm going to write here question A. So to make it become the same base, I can change it to base 10. So log 16 over log 5. See, I never write anything means base 10. Automatically, you know it's base 10. I don't have to write it. And then multiply by log 125 over log 3. And then divide by what? Log. Okay, divide. Okay, I'm going to write like this here. Log 4 over log cert 3. But since this is divide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to times. So when I change it to times, it also flips. Okay, so this one goes on top and the top one goes to the bottom. So I'm going to do that straight away. I'm not going to write too many times. So it becomes, so 125 here times log cert 3. So cert 3 means 3 power 1 over 2 over log 4. Okay, so I switch everything to base 10. Okay, so now all this the power one, so this one I can change it to what? 4 square, right? This one I can change it to 5 cube, and this 1 over 2 I can bring forward here, correct? So I'm going to do that later. You know why? Because when we do that, we can simplify it, easier for us to simplify. So this is 4 square, right? So the square can also go in front here, so I'm going to write in front here 2 log 4, then some log 5 times, so this is 5 square, right? Log 5 square. So the sorry, not square, cube. So the cube is going to bring forward here, so 3 log 5 log 3 times 1 over 2 log 3 over log 4. So what you notice from here is you can cut, right? You can simplify. So log 4 and log 4, log 3 and log 3, log 5 and log 5. Okay, so it is always like this. In the end, you can always simplify. So what do you get? So here you got 2 times 3 times 1 over 2, so it's 3 lah. Okay, so the bottom here is only 1, so the answer is 3. Okay, 3 over 1 is still 3 lah. Okay, so this is your answer. Question B. Question B is asking you to solve this. So how we are going to solve this? If you notice that there is square root this side and then the square root here, so right, so what we can do, usually when there is square root, right, we can square both sides. Okay, we can square both sides, so it ends up like this. So you get square root x minus 2. Okay, so this side here you're going to square, equals to square root x minus 1. So here also you're going to square. Okay, so what do you get? So this side here, the square and the square root you can cancel, right? So you're left with x minus 2. And then on the right here, you have to do, it becomes a quadratic lah. Okay, so I'm going to do the shortcut. So square root x square, you get x minus 2 x plus 1. Okay, so this is a shortcut for those who don't remember. So anyway, so here x and x we can cut, and then this one here negative 2 cert x, right? So I'm going to bring this over. Okay, why? Because I want to change it into positive, because we want to find what is x, right? So I'm going to isolate it, bring towards the other side to make it positive. So 2 cert x, and then this one I bring over there, so it becomes plus 1 plus 2, so it's plus 3 lah. So what do you get? In the end, you get cert x equals to 3 over 2, x equals to 3 over 2 square, which is 9 over 4. Okay, so this is your answer. Right, next. T1, T2, T3 are 3 consecutive terms. 3 consecutive terms of an arithmetic progression. Okay, so this is arithmetic, and it is given that T1 equals to 7. Okay, so if T1 is equals to 7, can we assume that T1 is A? Because it's 3 consecutive terms, right? We can assume that T1 is equals to A. So, okay, write like this. TA equals to T1, which is 7. Okay, the second one here, it says that Tn plus 1 equals to Tn plus, okay, so what you notice is that, see here, Tn plus 1 equals to Tn plus 4. So what you can do is, if I bring this over, right, what you notice is that T1 plus Tn plus 1 minus Tn equals to 4. What do you know about this? They are telling you that this is the, let's say this is the first term. Let's say this is the first term. Then if this is the first term, this should be the second term, right? So if you minus this, in other words, you are saying that Tn plus 1 minus Tn is actually equals to D. Do you know that? So okay, if you don't understand, let's assume n is equals to 1. Okay, so what does this mean? It means T2, because n is 1, right? So 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So T2 minus T1 equals to 4. So what does this mean? It means the second term minus the first term, you get 4, right? So in other words, it is the value of D, correct? So that's what it means by Tn plus 1. So if you can see this pattern, then you will know how to relate to the formula. Okay, so you know the formula already. So you have A equals to 7, D equals to 4. Now what they ask you to find, they want you to find the 17th term. So they want T17. Okay, so what's the formula? The formula is A plus n minus 1 D, right? So A is what? A is 7 plus n is 17 minus 1, D is 4. So 7 plus 16 times 4, okay. Okay, so you should get your answer straight away. I'm going to write here straight away, 71. Okay, so term number 17 is 71. Clear? Alright, next. Given the function fx is, okay, so they gave you the, okay, give me a minute, let me just scroll down a bit. Okay, so they gave you the function. So this is the function here. They ask you to find f2. So question A, f square lah. Okay, f square, what does f square mean? F square is the same as fx, right? So that means you're substituting fx back into itself, right? So I'm going to write like this, the square here. So you're going to substitute back into itself, so it becomes 2x plus 4, but this time the x is what? The x is fx, so it's another 2x plus 4. So it becomes like this, 2x plus 4 plus 4. Okay, so you expand this, you should get 4x plus, 8 plus 4, so 4x plus 12. Okay, question B. So now the question is saying that f square 2m. Okay, so now the value of x here is 2m, right? They're telling you it's 2m. So when the object is 2m, you get the image is 28, right? So they ask you to find what's the value of m. So we're going to just substitute back into the formula. So f square 2m equals to 28. So therefore this is going to become 4 times 2m plus 12 equals to 28. So 8m equals to, so 12 I bring it over, you get minus, so 28 minus 12 you get 16. So m equals to 16 over 8, which is 2. So your answer is 2, right? Alright, next. The variables x and y are related by equation. Okay, so they gave you the equation here. So they're telling you this equation is this one. Diagram shows a straight line plotting. Okay, so you see this graph here. The graph is not in terms of the y-axis. You notice is that it is not y. It's y over x square. Okay, so you need to take note of that. So the question asks you to express p in terms of q. So before you can express, you need to have the equation, correct? So to get the equation, there they already gave you the equation here. So you need to know how to make this equation suitable for this graph. Okay, make this equation suitable for this graph. Why? Because if you notice here is it's all messed up, right? Here is y, here is x squared, here is x. We have to make it become in the sense of y equals to mx plus c. We have to make it in this form. Okay, so in this case, the y-axis here is y over x squared. So that means this, instead of y, you have to write y over x squared m, and then the x here is, okay, so x is the same, so it's still x plus c. So you must make this equation become this format. Okay, you must make it become this format. So the outside here, the y-axis here is y over x squared, and then here is x. Okay, so okay, let me just erase this. So by understanding that, now let's see. So you got this equation 2y equals 3x squared 4 minus x. So you want to turn the front part here become y over x squared, right? So how do you do that? You have to divide it by x squared. Take the whole thing here, take the whole thing, divide by x squared. But not only that, you got the 2 here, right? You want to remove the 2, so you also divide by 2. So you remove 2x squared. Okay, you divide by 2x squared. So when you divide, what do you get? You get y over x squared equals to, so 3x squared divided by 2x squared, you get 3 over 2, oh that's it, and then x minus 4. Sorry, what? 4 minus x. Okay, so you can expand this, it's up to you. So y over x squared equals to, so 3 over 4 times 3 over 2 times 4, you get 6 minus 3 over 2x. Okay. Oh yeah, we are not done, sorry. Question asks you to express p in terms of q. So p in terms of q, so we have to use this coordinate, right? This coordinate is on this the line, right? So the equation of the line. So this line here, the equation of the line, you're going to substitute p and q. But p and q is not x and y, by the way. This is not x and y, wrong. Why? Because the x, okay, x is correct because here is x-axis, right? X value, this value here is x. But this p value is not y value, is y over x squared. So that means when you substitute, you straight away substitute into the y equals to x squared, the equation, the part. Okay, so that means this whole thing here becomes q. So q equals to 6 minus 3 over 2 x. X is not x, x is p. Okay, clear? So now you have to shift this such that you get your equation p in terms of q. So you get 3 over 2 p equals to 6 minus q. So p equals to 2 over 3 6 minus q. Okay, you can leave it like this, or you can expand it lah. Okay, so if you expand, I'm gonna write it here. P equals to 4 minus 2 over 3 q. Okay, so this is the answer for question A. Alright, next. Okay, wait, let me go down. Okay, hence determine whether point 8, negative 6 lies on the line or not. So, okay, if let's say, now you got this point, right? This new point here. If this point lies on the equation, by right, if I substitute the x value, I should get the y, sorry, the y over x squared value, right? Because this graph is in terms of x and also y over x squared. So we have to prove that. So to prove that, we have to substitute one of the values. So we know that the equation here is what? Let me rewrite the equation. Equation is p equals to, sorry, I don't use p. I use y over x squared equals to 6 minus 3 over 2x. So now the x value is what? X value is 8, right? So you just substitute the 8 inside. So 6 minus 3 over 2 times 8. So what do you get? 6 here is 4, 12, so 6 minus 12, negative 6. So this is the value of this lah. So in other words, we can prove that we can write here lah, it lies on the straight line. There, you managed to prove what? Right? Negative 6 is there. Negative 6. Okay? So, let's see the next one. Oh, this is a bit blur. It's okay. The position vector of house A and B are, so they give you, this is vector, position vector of A, position vector of B. Okay? So, okay, let me write here. Position vector, right? So, that means OA lah. OA equals to 1, 2. Okay, I write in column vector, so that is easier. And then OB is 3, 5. Okay, the distance between the houses is measured in kilometers. Okay, find the unit vector of AB. So, okay, before we can find unit vector, we must first find the vector itself. So, AB means what? AB means AO plus OB. Like I said before, we always want to form a chain, right? So AO and OB. So AO means what? You have to invert this lah. Okay, so you get negative 1, negative 2 plus OB is 3, 5. So you should get negative 2. Negative 2. You should get 2 and 3. Okay, so this is your vector. Now the question wants a unit vector. So what is the formula for unit vector? Unit vector is you take the vector, divide by the modulus, the magnitude of that vector. So in this case, you're going to get 2i plus 3j. Okay, that's the vector, over square root 2 square plus 3 square, and then yeah, square root. So your answer you should get, okay, right here, 2i plus 3j over, so 4 plus 9 is 13, so square root 13. Okay, so you can leave your answer like this. Hey, next question. A house C was built 13 kilometers from house A. So that means the distance between A and C is 13 kilometers. If position vector of house C is, okay, so they gave you the vector, but they gave you K in terms of K. Okay, so you don't know what's the value of K. Find the possible value of K. So this question wants you to use the distance formula, right? Magnitude. Okay, so before you can find that, you must first find the vector. So the vector is AC, right? Because you are looking for AC, right? So AC is what? AO plus OC, right? So AO you already know is negative 1, negative 2, plus OC would be this one lah, okay, 6 and K. 6 and K. So when you add them together, you should get 5 and bottom here is negative 2 plus K. Okay, so now you want to find distance. Distance means magnitude. Magnitude of AC equals to how much? 13 kilometer, right? So that means to find that, you just take 5 square plus negative 2 plus K square, and then you square root the whole thing. You should get 13. So the square root you bring over, you get 13 square, right? So 169. So on the left you get 25 minus, so you get positive 4 minus 4k plus k square. Okay, so you know it's going to form a quadratic equation because you got k square here and also k. So you get k square minus 4k, 25 plus 4 minus 169. You should get negative 140. Okay, equals 0. Okay, so now you can factorize lah, like how you normally do. Use your calculator. So you should get k minus 14 and k plus 10. Okay, so from here we know that k is equals to 14, or k can also be equals to negative 10. So number 6, a shoe factory started operating in January 2012. The sum of production, so this is sum of production of the shoe in a year represented by this function here. So I want you to take note, this function here represents the sum of production. So that means if let's say I want to find year 0, how many shoes they produced that year, so I substitute t equals to 0, so I get the value is equivalent to the amount of shoe they produce in that whole year. If I want to find year 3, let's say, so I substitute 3, okay, to get the value of the year that amount of shoes they produce that year. Okay, so that's what the function is about. You have to understand what the function does. Okay, so this function is sum of production such that t is the number of years. Okay, in which year the sum of shoe produced are 2550. So in what year? So that means you want to find the t value. They gave you the ft function, the answer, but they want you to find the t value. So okay, let's do it here. They tell you the sum of shoe produced is 2550. So that means ft, you don't know what the t is equals to 2550. So 150 plus 300t equals to 2550. So bring the 150 there, you get 300t equals 2550 minus 150, you should get 2400. T equals to 2400 divided by 300, you get 8 years. Okay, so the question is asking what? In which year? So they want to know what year, not how many years. This 8 years means how many years, right? We want to know specifically what year. So we have to plus when we started. We started in January 2012. So you're going to take 2012 plus 8. So answer is 2020. So is this correct? Answer is wrong. Please take note. Why? Because we are starting in January, right? We are starting in January 2012. So January 2012 until December 2012 is already considered 1 year. Okay, so that means you have to add another 7 more years, not 8 years, because total here is 8 years. So 2012 itself is considered 1 year already. So you still got another 7 more years. So instead of adding 8, you should actually add 7. Okay, so this is something you should take note of. It's very common actually. So 2012 plus 7 years. So you get 2019. This is the year that they had 2550. Okay, because 2012 itself is considered 1 year already. The whole year is already 1 year. So you have another 7 more years left. Okay. Question B. Given the function gx, okay, so they gave you the function in terms of p, x, and q, but p and q are constant. Find the value of p and q such that, so they gave you these two functions. See, whenever they give you this, and there are two unknowns there, you know it's going to be simultaneous. Okay, so first function they gave you is g negative 5 equals to 11. So just substitute your x value as negative 5 lah. So 11 equals to negative 5p plus q. So this is your first equation. The second equation, if you notice, is that g inverse, so it's inverse g. Okay, the inverse function of g, okay, is equals to 7. Okay, so what you can do is you can change this into a forward function. You can change it to, from g inverse, change it to a forward function. How? When you change you change from inverse to forward, you have to switch these two. Okay, the object become the image become the object. So here is 7, here becomes 2. Okay, so substitute this into your function here. Okay, so you get let me see, so 2 equals to 7p plus q. Okay, so this is your second equation. So you can do what? I'm going to do elimination method. So I'm just going to minus these two. So when I minus, what do I get? 11 minus 2 is 9. Negative 5, negative 7 is negative 12. And then this one, q becomes 0 lah. Okay, so what is p? P is equals to negative 9 over 12, which is negative 3 over 4. Okay, so that's your p value. What is your q value? Okay, so I'm going to substitute this into your second equation because it looks a lot easier. So 2 equals to 7, p is negative 3 over 4 plus q. Okay, so q equals to 2 plus 21 over 4. So your answer should be 29 over 4, or you can write 7 1 over 4. Okay, these are your answers. Alright, next. Diagram 2 shows straight lines RU and RS. Okay, so this is RU, this is RS, and then straight line RS, so this straight line here is parallel to the x-axis, okay, understood, and has equal length with RU. So that means these two lengths are the same. Okay, RU and RS, they are the same. Question is asking, find the equation of perpendicular bisector of US. So that means what they're asking is, they want to know, first you need to know what is US. So this is US here. And then you want perpendicular and bisector. Bisector means in the middle of this line lah. So in the middle of this line, and it's perpendicular. So it's going to be like this. You are finding for the perpendicular bisector, the equation of that line. Okay, so there are a few things you have to do. Okay, the first step is you want to find the gradient of this line here, the US line. Okay, you want to find the equation of that line, but you don't know what is the coordinate of S, correct? You don't know what's the coordinate of S. So what you need to do is, you need to use this, where is this? There, equal length to straight line RU. So you must use this, it's like a hint for you. That means the distance here and the distance here should be the same, correct? So you see, we find RU first. What is the length of RU? RU is, so the formula is 0. I'm going to take 0 minus negative 3. So 0 minus negative 3 means plus 3 square plus 4 minus 0 square. Okay, so 3 square, 4 square, square root, you get 5 cm. So this one is 5 units. 5 units. Okay, 5 units. So if you have 5 units, here should also be 5 units, correct? So that means here should be 5. Okay, correct, 5 and 4. So here the coordinate is 5 4. So knowing that this is 5 4, now we can find the gradient of US. So gradient of US, let's write here gradient. I use that as gradient 1. So gradient of US is going to be 4 minus 0 over 5 minus negative 3, so plus 3 lah. So 4 over 8, or in other words 1 over 2. Okay, so now you have already found the gradient of US. So if you already found the gradient of US, can you find the gradient of the perpendicular line? Of course, you can use m1 m2. m1 times m2 equals to negative 1. So in other words, the perpendicular line is going to be negative 2. Okay, so this is 1 over 2. The perpendicular line is going to be negative 2. So now you already found the gradient. Now all you need is the intercept, correct? Now the question is, can I drew this line here. If you notice, I drew this line cross this point here. But are you sure it's going to cross that line? Now, this is something I want to let you all know. I don't know whether you all still remember. I think you all learned this in Form 3, if I'm not mistaken. Is that, assuming, you see, here they say is same length, right? Here and here same length. So what we can understand from here is assuming it's a circle. Okay, sorry, I'm not drawing a proper circle, but assuming this is a circle lah, okay? Assuming this is a circle. This line here, US, represents the chord of the entire circle, correct? It represents the chord. So if you have a chord, and the perpendicular bisector of the chord will always pass through the center. So in other words, it will cross the 0 4. It will cross, okay? So in other words, you can actually use the 0 4 coordinate to to solve the equation, to find the equation. Okay, so in other words, we already know the gradient is what? Gradient is negative 2, right? So sorry, let me change color. Y equals to mx plus c, correct? So now it passes through that, so we know the intercept is going to be 4, gradient is negative 2x, and then this is your answer. Okay, now if you don't know that, okay, let's say I don't know if it's going to cross that line. Now if you don't know, don't worry, there is another method you can use, which is you can find the midpoint. You can find the midpoint between these two coordinates. Yes, you can. So in other words, if you want to do that, okay, I'm going to show you another way. So find the midpoint first. So what is the midpoint? The midpoint is going to be, so 5 plus negative 3 with 5 plus negative 3, okay, just write negative 3 over 2, and then 4 plus 0 over 2. So the midpoint is going to be 1, 2. Okay, so now you know that it's 1, 2. You can straight away substitute into the equation to find the the equation is what? y1 minus y1 equals to mx minus x1. Okay, this is the equation, the formula to form equations. Okay, what am I thinking? So formula to form the equation. So y1 is going to be 2 and x1 is going to be 1. Let's see whether we get the same answer or not. So y minus 2 equals to m is negative 2, x minus 1. So you expand this, you get y equals to negative 2x plus 2 minus, plus 2 plus 2. So answer is negative 2x plus 4. So you should get the same equation. Okay, so both ways work depending on which is easier for you. Of course, if you understood this concept, then straight away you can find your equation, because it's only 3 marks, right? But if let's say you don't understand why I can intercept the 0, 4 here, if you don't understand, then you can use the midpoint method. Okay, so both ways work. Alright, question B. Point P moves such that its distance from R is always twice its distance from U. So that means, okay, so that we have a line, locus, a moving point is called locus, right? So locus that moves in such a way that the distance from R, so that means P to R is, so is means equal twice, so 2 times of its distance from U, so PU. So this is your equation. So now with this equation, we can straight away form our we can find our equation because the question asking for equation, right? So let us do this together. So let's assume, okay, before that, let me just write down the coordinate. Okay, so the coordinate of U is negative 3, 0, and R is 0, 4, and P we don't know, we're just going to put xy. Okay, you need it to be xy to form an equation, otherwise how can you form an equation, right? So coming back, so PR, so P is xy, so x minus 0 square plus y minus 4 square, then square root this whole thing. So the distance between PR equals to 2 times of the distance of PU. So x minus negative 3, so plus 3 square, plus y minus 0 square. Okay, so first step we're going to do is we are going to eliminate the square root by squaring both sides. Okay, so when you square both sides, what happens is that the square root and the square can cancel each other, so you only left with x square here plus y square minus 8y plus 16. Okay, the second part here, now when you cancel this, don't forget the 2 here, you still have to square, because the square is for the whole thing. So that means the 2 also you must square, and the square root also you must cancel with the square. So you get 4 bracket x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus y squared. Okay, so you expand this, you should get this here will remain the same, and then the other side will be 4x squared plus 24x plus 36 plus 4y squared. So now I'm going to shift all this the other side. I'm going to shift all together. So here 4x, here x, for 4x squared and x squared you get 3x squared, and then here y squared, here 4y squared, you get 3y squared, and then x here remains plus 24x, and then I bring this over, will become positive 8y, and then 36 minus 16, so you should get 20. Yeah, 20. So equals to 0. So this is your equation. Alright, next. A shopping mall has organized a contest. They have shortlisted 20 lucky contestants. So there are 20 lucky contestants, and out of the 20, they are going to win what? 3 cars, XYZ, and 5 consolation prize. So in total there are 8 prizes. Okay, 3 of them are the main prizes and 5 of them are consolation prize. So each of them will get 5,000 ringgit. So now the question, before we go to the question, here there's one important point. It says that 5 winners for the consolation prizes are drawn before 3 winners of the main prizes are drawn. Now this is actually quite an important one. If it's not important, they wouldn't have stated lah. So I'm pretty sure this is quite an important one. So they are saying that they're going to choose the 5 first before they go into the 3. Okay, so now let's see what the question wants. So question A, it says that find the ways in which 5 winners for the consolation prize can be chosen. So they already gave you a hint, right? Chosen means combination, right? You don't need a permutation, because why? First of all, they only want to choose the 5 consolations. The 5 consolations are getting the same thing. So in other words, arrangement don't matter, right? You can choose this guy first or that guy first. It doesn't really matter as long as you have 5 guys to win the 5 consolation prizes. Okay, they are the same. So question A, you want to use combination. So what combination you're going to use? You got 20 winners, 20 lucky candidates, and you're going to choose how many? You're going to choose 5. So that's it. You choose, your answer should be 15504. Okay, so this should be your answer. Question B, find the number of different ways to select the winner for the main prize. Okay, so now they want the winners. Now the winners matters, correct? We have to see who gets the first place, who gets the second place, who gets the third place, right? So arrangement technically matters. Okay, so because it matters, you have to use permutation. So when you use permutation, of course, how many of them are you going to choose from? Are you going to pick you're going to pick from 15 of them? Some people I know, they will write there 20p3. No, wrong. You cannot choose 20. Why? Because the statement here says that they choose 5 winners for consolation. After that, they choose the 3. Okay, so after the 5 consolation, then only they choose the 3 winners main prize. Okay, so when they choose the 5, all there is left is 15 more people only, right? So 15 people, you have to pick 3 of them. So your answer is 2730. Okay, 2730. Now if some of you guys might use combination, let's say if you all use combination also can, but when you use combination, you have to change the way you write it, because in this case, like I said, arrangement matters, right? So if you just write there 15C3, you will get the wrong answer. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to write like this. There are 2 ways. You can either use that way or you can write like this. So 15 people, the 15 you have to choose 1 person to win first prize, and then you're left with 14 people, right? So 14 people, you have to choose 1 to win the second prize, and then 13 left. So 13 people choose the third person, which is 1, choose 1 to win the third prize. Okay, so if you do this, you will still get the same answer, 2730. Okay, so both ways work. Okay, all right, next. The winner ceremony will take place in one event. Determine the different ways to sit 8 in a line if there is no restriction. Okay, so now the question is saying, okay, let me scroll down here. This question is saying what? They're saying that there's an event. They want to arrange them in to sit. Okay, arrange them to sit, 8 of them in a line. If there is no restriction, how many ways can you arrange them? So this one, of course, arrangement matters, right? Because different people sit different place, you get a different photo, right? If let's say they are taking photo, you get a different photo, correct? So the way you arrange is going to be different. So if there is no restriction, of course, you can just write 8 factorial. Okay, 8 factorial. So they all just switch among each other lah. Okay, so 8 factorial you get 40320. Okay, now last one there. All main prize winners are not allowed to sit next to each other. So all main prize. So there are 3 main prize and 5 consolation prize. Okay, so the 3 main prize, they cannot sit together. So I want you to take note of this, because a lot of students make mistake with this. So most people, what they would do is they would find the total. That means they take the total. So in this case, total is 8 factorial. 8 factorial minus, see, they don't want you to find people who, you don't want them to sit together, right? So you take the total minus the 3 persons sit together. Some people will do this. They take the total, they minus the 3 people sit together. You will get the amount that doesn't include the people who sit together, correct? Now, if you do this, you'll get wrong. Why? Because if you only minus 3 people sit together, you never take into account 2 people sit together. Because there are 3 people, right? So if there are 3 people, you say 3 persons don't sit together. You are not taking into account what if 2 persons sit together, right? So it's actually quite complicated if you use this method. So why I'm saying this is because whenever you see there are more than 3 people, you cannot use this method. If there is only 2 people, okay, then you can do that. You can say take the total minus the 2 person not sitting together. If it's only 2 person, you can. But if there is 3 person or more, you cannot do this. Okay, you'll get the wrong answer. So how are we going to solve this then? So let me show you how you're going to solve this. I hope so far you understand what I'm saying lah. Okay. Anyway, if you don't understand, just type in a comment. Okay, let me know. Alright, so now coming back, how do we solve this? So you have 8 of them, correct? So you don't want the 3 of them to sit together. So let's say you got 5 consolation, right? So 1 consolation, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now the 3 person can sit anywhere between this. Correct? They can sit anywhere here. Correct? It can be main, or you can take here, or you take here, or they can just switch. So in other words, you can write what? You can write like this. There are how many seats here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 seats available. So out of the 6, you have to pick 3. Correct? Because there are only 3 winners. So the 3 winners can sit any of that 6 seats. So 6, pick 3. Okay? Times, don't forget, the consolation can also switch among themselves. Correct? So that means there are 5p5, or you can write 5 factorial. Okay? So when you write like this, that's when you take into account the 3 person not sitting together. Okay? So this is how you do it. Okay? So the answer is 14400. Okay, so I hope you find this useful. Okay, because a lot of people make this mistake lah. Okay, let's see next one. Given fx equals to 1 minus 2x power 4, okay, close bracket power 4, and so they want you to integrate this to get this. Okay, find mn. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. They just want you to integrate the fx Okay, when you integrate, compare with this, find what's the m value and the n value, then multiply them to get mn. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So let's see. So question A, you have fx equals to 1 minus 2x and bracket power 4. So if you integrate this, integrate fx dx, you will get, so there's a shortcut, you don't have to expand this. The shortcut is 1 minus 2x, the power here you're going to plus 1 and then bring the number down, so 5 down here. But of course, don't stop there, you have to differentiate whatever is here and write bottom. So when you differentiate, you get negative 2. Okay, then plus c. So if I write this in terms of this format, it becomes equals to negative 1 over 10 and then 1 minus 2x power 5 plus c. So from here you can see, you can compare with what they gave you lah. So m 1 minus 2x n plus c. So you know that, okay, I'm going to write up here, m value is negative 1 over 10, n value is 5. So when you want to find mn, just multiply negative 1 over 10 times 5. So you get negative 1 over 2. Okay, so this is your answer. Alright, question B. Now you want to find what? Ali and friends are visiting a country. On a particular day, Ali and friends will go to the theme park if temperature on that day is not more than 40 degree. Okay, so if it's not more than 40 degree, they will go to the theme park, otherwise they won't. Okay, so according to the weather forecast on that day, the rate change of temperature is, so they give you the rate change of temperature, where theta is temperature in degrees Celsius and t is time in hours. Can Ali and friend proceed with the plan if the temperature at 7 AM at t equals 0 is 22 degree? So now the question is like very long, right? But okay, they told you that the temperature is 40 degree. If it's more than if the temperature is more than 40 degree, they won't go. Correct? So you just want to find out if the temperature got exceed that number or not. Okay, you don't want it to exceed. So how do you know what's the maximum temperature? You just want to find out what's the maximum, correct? So how to find maximum? Maximum is, when we want to find maximum, we can always assume that d theta dt equals to 0, right? We learned before, if you watch the tutorial videos that I posted, to find maximum or minimum point, we take the differentiated amount is equal to 0. So d theta dt equals 0. So in this case, it's going to be 0.4 phi minus t equals to 0. So phi minus t equals to 0, t is equals to 5. Okay, so that's what you want to find. You want to find when t equals to 5, what is the temperature? So you want to find the temperature, right? So that means, in other words, you want to find the theta, right? So how do you find theta? You have to integrate this formula. So integrate d theta dt. Okay, I'm just going to straight away integrate lah. Okay, so theta equals to, you integrate, so 0.4 5 minus t dt. Okay, integrate, so you should get 0.4 5t minus t square over 2 plus c. Okay, plus c. So now you already got your equation for theta. So we don't know what's the value of c, right? That's why they gave us this. So we can substitute. Okay, so the temperature is 22 when t equals 0. So when t equals 0, so this one will be 0, this will be 0. So you're left with c equals to 22. So your new equation, theta, is 0.4. Okay, 0.4 times 5, when you expand, you should get 2t minus 0.2t square plus 22. So you want to find the temperature when t is equals to 5. So when t is equals to 5, substitute the into the t, so 2 times 5 minus 0.2 times 5 square plus 22. So when you do this, you should get your answer 27 degrees Celsius. So 27 degrees Celsius is less than 40 degrees. So therefore, they will be going to the theme park. Okay, so this is how you do. So whenever the question asks you something like this, when they want to see whether you go exceed a certain amount, just find the maximum. Okay, just find the maximum. So to find the maximum, make sure you use this. Okay, when you use that, you will get the right answer. Alright, next. An unfair die is tossed. The probability of getting 6 is 0.4. If the die is tossed 15 times, calculate the value of the mean. And then here they want variance. So from here you should know it is asking for probability distribution, right? You learn probability distribution, binomial, correct? So binomial, you need three things. You need the n value, you need the p value, and you need the q value, correct? So n, p, q, where is the n, where is the p, where is the q? So here they say probability of getting a 6 is 0.4, right? So this will be your p value, and then they tossed 15 times, so it is n value. So if p is 0.4, what is q? Q is 0.6. So they ask for mean, right? So mean is equals to np, which is n is 15, p is 0.4. So you should get your answer is 6. Variance formula is npq. N is 15, p is 0.4, q is 0.6. You should get your answer 3.6. Okay, next, the probability of getting 6 at least once, so that means they want probability of getting the x value, right? The x value at least means more than or equal to 1, right? That means they say at least once, that means minimum is 1, cannot be lesser, at least, right? So minimum is 1, so you must get either 1 or more. Okay, how many times more? You can get 1, you can get 2, you can get 3, you can 4, 5, 6, all the way to your n value, which is 15. So you must count for x equals to 1, x equals to 2, x equals to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, until 15. Okay, so it's too much, correct? Until when you want to count. So what you can do is, you can straight away take the total probability is 1, right? So 1 minus p, the probability of x less than 1. Okay, so if probability p less than 1 is what? Only 0 lah, correct? So you're only finding for probability equals to 0, because less than 1 is only 0, correct? So we can just find like this. It's so much easier. So 1 minus, so you got 15, right? So 15, choose 0, and then 0.4 power 0, 0.6 power 15. Okay, so you should get your answer 0.9995. Okay, alright, next. Given cos theta equals to negative m such that theta is a reflex angle, find in terms of m. So these two questions here, cosec and 5 second theta minus 180. Okay, so now first thing we have to find out where is this. Okay, where is this guy? So cos, okay, let's say you got your 4 quadrants. Okay, cos negative, see here, cos and then negative m. So in which quadrant do you get negative for cos? Remember, all sine teachers are crazy. Okay, so negative is only here and here, correct? So now the question is also saying that it's a reflex angle. So if it's a reflex angle, it is only going to be in this, correct? This is an obtuse angle, so cannot be here. So there's only one location, which is the third quadrant. Okay, so we are going to use the third quadrant. Okay, let me draw bigger. So here, okay, so third quadrant. So this is your triangle here. Here is theta. So now they are saying that cos equals negative m, right? So m, so cos is what? Ka, right? C cos equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent will be here and hypotenuse will be here, correct? So now they're saying that it's m, right? So the m is the adjacent, so that means here is m, and then the bottom here should be 1 lah. So the hypotenuse is 1. So if there is m here is 1, what is your height here? Your height is going to be 1 square minus m square, or I just write 1 minus m square, then you square root, correct? So that will represent the height. Clear? So with this, you always have to form this first. Whenever they give you something like this, form this first, then you can start doing. After that, it will be very easy. Okay, so now the question is asking for cosecant. So cosecant, if I change it to sine cos tangent, is going to be 1 over sine theta. Okay, so sine is what? If I use back this angle here, sine is going to be OH, right? Opposite, which is sine, square root 1 or 1 minus m square over hypotenuse over 1 lah. So I need to write over 1. It's going to be the same thing. But don't forget one thing. This is in the third quadrant. So the sine value will give you negative. So your answer should be negative. So here should be 1 over negative 1 minus m square. This is your answer. Okay. Next. Second. So 5 second theta minus 180. So first I write in terms of 1 over cos. Okay, so become 5 cos theta minus 180. So this is a formula you can use, right? Cos theta minus 180. You can actually change it. You get cos theta cos 180 plus sine theta sine 180. Okay, sorry, I don't think we got space here. But anyway, okay, so now cos theta, you already know what is cos theta. Okay, let me write it here lah. Just get no place. Okay, so it becomes what? 5 over, so cos theta is, you already know cos theta is negative m, right? So negative m, and then cos 180 is what? Cos 180 is negative 1. So write negative 1. Just key in your calculator. Sine theta, you already found here. Sine theta is this. 1 minus m square. And then sine 180 is 0. So when you expand this, you should get 5 over m. That's it. Okay. 5 over m is your answer. Now question B. Solve the equation. So they gave you this equation here. They want you to solve in terms of pi. So that means you don't have to expand the pi lah. So it's only in terms of pi. So sine 2a plus sine a minus tangent a equals to 0. So you have sine and tangent. So what you can do is change everything in terms of sine and cos. So sine 2a, you can use the property. So you get 2 sine a cos a plus sine a minus tangent becomes sine a over cos a equals to 0. So what you notice is that there are signs everywhere. All got sign. So what you can do is you can factorize the sign. Factorize sine a. You should get 2 cos a plus 1 minus 1 over cos a equals to 0. So from here you know that sine a equals to 0, and the second one is 2 cos a plus 1 minus 1 over cos a equals to 0 as well. So in what situation do you get sine equals to 0? You can use your calculator, or you can, if you understand the graph, sine graph is like this, right? So in what situation you get 0. So 0 is here, right? So in what situation? These 3 points, right? Here is 180 degree, here is 360 degree, and here is 0 degree. So it only happens in these 3 situations. So A is equals to either 0 degree. 0 degree means 0 radian lah. Okay, because they say in terms of pi, right? So you change it to pi lah. So 0 radian or 180 would be pi over 2 radian. 360 would be 2 pi. Sorry, pi over 2 is 90 degrees. Sorry, my bad. 180 is just pi, and then 2 pi. Okay, so your answer is this 3 for the first part. The second part, okay, let me write here, no space. So it's 2 pi. Okay, so now second part, how are you going to solve this? So what you can do is, if you notice one thing, here got cos A. This cos A here is denominator, right? So what you can do is, you can take the whole thing, multiply by cos A. Why we want to do that? See what happens. 2 cos square A plus cos A minus 1 equals 0. So what do you notice from here? This is a quadratic equation, right? You got a square, you got a power 1, and then you got a constant, right? So this is actually a quadratic equation. Now if you cannot see this, if you say where is the quadratic equation, you can assume, let's assume cos x, cos A equals to x. Okay, so here become 2x square plus x minus 1 equals 0. So now you see, it's a quadratic, right? When you look at this, so when you factorize, you should get 2x minus 1, x plus 1 equals to 0. So x equals to 1 over 2, and x equals to negative 1. So you have a few answers here lah. Okay, the first answer, x, you have to substitute back the cos A. See, I got no space, so let me write here. So cos A equals to 1 over 2. The second one is cos A equals negative 1. Okay, so cos A equals 1 over 2. What is your reference angle? Your reference angle should be 60 degree. So when it's 60 degree, remember cos A positive is in which quadrant? Is in first quadrant and last quadrant, right? So the first quadrant means A is equals to 1 over 3 pi. Okay, that is 60 degree. And okay, I hope you all understand what I'm saying, because I'm trying to skip steps here because I got not enough space. So A is equals 60 degree means 1 over 3 pi. So the second one is going to be the fourth quadrant, right? So fourth quadrant means 360 minus the 60 degree. So you get 300 degree. So 300 degree is actually 5 over 3 pi. Okay, so what about the second answer here? Cos A equals to negative 1. So the reference angle is 0 degree. So in other words, A is equals to 0 degree. This one is negative, so it's either second quadrant or third quadrant. So you still get the same answer, which is 180 degree. 180 degree is pi. Okay, I really hope you guys understand. I'm sorry because I'm skipping steps here, so that we can go a bit faster, and also I got no space here. So in the end, your answer should be, you should have 1 2 3 4 5 6 answers. So first you have 0 radian, this one, this one, this one, these two, and this. Okay, these are all your answers. So 0 radian, 1 over 3 pi radian, 5 over 3 pi radian, then you have pi and 2 pi. Okay, so 2 4 5 answers. Okay, so these are your answers. All right, so let's see the next question.